Welcome, everybody. It is me. It is the Cyber Warrior. This is Cyber Warrior Studios. And I know you are all here for another amazing episode of Security Happy Hour. Mind you, it is Red Friday. Remember, everyone deployed until they all come home. Other than that, look, I got another amazing episode planned. I got an amazing guest here this evening. So have your drinks, have your questions, have everything ready. And I promise in about 10 seconds, we will be back with our amazing guest. And we're back. See, 10 seconds. That's all it ever is. With me this evening, I have the one and only Amber Wheeler. Amber, who is an amazing person, got introduced to me by Space Tacos. Well, she introduced herself through Space Tacos. So thank you, Space Tacos, for making that introduction and spreading the show and the name around. With that being said, Amber, would you like to introduce yourself? Give us a little bit of background. Tell us how you're doing, how you got into the industry, things like that.
Yeah, sure. So I am based out of Atlanta, Georgia, and I've been in IT, cybersecurity for about, education included, 13 years. And honestly, I just got into it. I used to tinker when I was 7, doing like just little things like troubleshooting. And I've just always been fascinated with technology. And when it was time for me to decide to go to college, it was like, hey, I have to do something that's going to advance. I just had to know that my brain worked the way that it worked. And that's how I decided to, choose my education. I got my first IT, which was like PC repair. Got that when I was in a mentorship program through school. And honestly, it just went from there. And so my last IT position on the operations side was a system engineer with General Parts Company. I'm sure you guys know I guess it's a sister company, which is like Napa Corporate. So I was in that space, and it's a global enterprise company. So there was a lot going on. And then, of course, after COVID, I just decided to pivot and get into federal government contracting. Right now, I'm a technical and proposal writer, but I specialize in, business development within the IT space. And I'm going to transition again with just focused on, security frameworks, GRC, things of that nature as a consultant. And so that's just me in a nutshell. How am I doing? I am perfect, actually.
I mean, you gotta be. I mean, so those that have been following along, those that follow the show or follow the content that I put out and things like that, it's all about looking at chasing the good, looking at the bright side.
Yeah.
The glass is always half full type of deal. And so the fact that you said it's actually pretty funny because that's really how I look at things, right? You gotta find the positives in life. But with that being said, the first topic I want to cover is the confidence of kind of making your way in this industry. And then we'll get into, interviews and new people breaking in.
Yeah,
but I think
absolutely.
confidence is the biggest thing because I've noticed people are afraid to say things with their whole chest. Like if they know something, they get very timid for whatever reason. There's a variety of reasons. So what's your take on like being confident and kind of like what you know, who you are, what you can deliver? Like how has that helped you and where do you go with that?
I am a less is more type of person, but the information I provide to an organization, I always try to make sure that it's impactful. So I do research, I have to fact check. I do checks and balances. That's why GRC is really good for me. It's just a natural thing for me. So I definitely will say, in my experience, like as the meeting is going on or something like that, I'll listen, I'll observe. So I can say my biggest edge is observation. You sit back and you just watch the pieces on the chessboard move and you make the decision of how you want to handle it there. But as far as you have to know that you got it, you have to know that you have to you can figure it out. You may not know exactly that, but if that intuition is telling you what that person just said is not either the best route, considering all the variables, you got to trust that and you got to lean in with that, and my thing is, use those soft skills. I'm very suggestive, but I'm very calculated. And when I suggest what I believe is the, best direction to go, and you can always find people to back you up. Let's say you were my team lead. I would, after that meeting, go, hey, I don't have a good feeling about this, vendor. I think we need to check into that. And hey, I trust you. Go do your research. Bring it to me. We'll do it together. That kind of thing. So honestly, it's really playing to your strengths. Mine are being a very good observer, and trusting my intuition. Like I have enough experience under my belt where if I was wrong, I wouldn't be in this industry. I would have gotten kicked out. I would not walked out. I would have gotten kicked out. So that's another thing is being truthful with yourself. Self-awareness is going to be a very big thing when it comes to confidence because if you don't have that, it's not confidence, it's ego. If you don't have anything to back that, it's just, just air in the head kind of thing.
Yeah, and I think that's a big thing that people need to understand, right? There's a time to be humble,
Yeah.
and step back and listen and realize who you're around,
Hmm.
situational awareness, everything. But there's a time that if you have something to say, you have to say it with your full chest.
Yeah.
You have to go in there with confidence and understanding and being like, look, this is what I've researched. This is what I know. This is if you do it this way, you are going to fail. If you do
Yep.
it this way, you are going to succeed. And or the flip side of that is, yes, this way is going to work, but this way is more efficient, which means you're going to save them money. And I think that's where risk and when you're talking business, money is a huge thing. So if you
Absolutely. Yeah.
want time and it's more efficient, you've got to be able to speak on that. So, to your point, being a people watcher, observing everything, and kind of watching how things play out, absolutely huge, and help develop confidence and speak up for other people.
Yeah. Yeah. It's I mean, I've been in the like school districts and things like that where I mean, it's not business continuity is, it's more operations based.
Mhm.
And so, but there's that wiggle room where there are egos flying, and
Oh yeah,
it's not about getting it done securely, correctly. It's not about thinking about the bigger picture. It's just what's the less stressful thing for that decision maker to have as a suggestion, and then all the people that are responsible for executing it do it without question. Those environments I have been in, and they're never fun. And the best advice I can give for people if you're in that environment, create a strategy, create an exit plan, because I don't believe that you can fix every single environment. I think sometimes it just has to be a different time, a different space with a group of different people.
mhm,
That's something I can definitely say has built my confidence is knowing, hey, I've been familiar with this type of environment. These environments just don't work for me as a professional. If I stay acknowledging that, and I can't complain about, like, I will not give myself the agency to complain about an environment I'm aware of that's not good for me. It's like
right.
you either leave or you stay and you be quiet. That's what I tell myself. And it's just the way it is. And I think being transparent, realistic about it. Anybody that I've ever trained, if they came to me, I've had people ask me about career advice, like, should I make this move? And I tell them, what do you see as a gain? And if you transition, from this position, what's a loss? And
Right.
which one, weighs out that kind of way. A lot of people don't always think about that. They think about the money, or they think about the benefits, especially working for the government in any capacity. There's always like this consistent with salary, and the benefits are ridiculous, in comparison to other options that people may have available. It's very competitive, if you're
Right.
vetted into a company. So yeah, so I always tell them, me, I was never impressed by that. A lot of people tried to pressure me into making decisions that would benefit them more than me professionally. And I wanted to be amongst the higher tier teams, when I first started off, because I knew I would learn the most. And so it's like, if I'm going to stay here for 3 years, I want to be around the information security, cybersecurity people. I want to be around R&D. I want to be around the networking people, because I can, in the middle of me handling tickets, go and talk to them and get to know them more. And it worked. It worked. They would just put me under their wing, show me the ropes. I even had mentors that would help me with interviewing. They would literally on their lunch break come from their location to meet me. And that definitely had me reflecting, okay, when I get to that point in my career, I need to do that the same, just the
Right.
same. So it's a major confidence builder when you have a support system of people who are actually in the industry with you. They see that you're doing the hard work, and you just got to be real with yourself. Just like, if they believe in me, why shouldn't I believe in myself? Like, obviously I'm doing something right. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, but confidence, it just, you have to know it, but sometimes it's a battle because I'm big on giving people their accolades. It's like, hey, that was good. You figured it
Right.
out. Awesome. I've even asked people that I've trained, I said, what if your manager were to walk up to you right now and say, hey, you closed down 20 tickets in like one day? I like that. That, and I was like, I would feel great about myself. And that's not always the case. So, me being a peer, I do it. Right now, I don't have any mentees. I'm open to it, but definitely a confidence booster is being vocal with your team, being vocal with your support system. I've grown to understand that because I look back on it, I was like, everybody, we do a lot in IT, right? We do a lot. Um, you giving someone your time and they're not even asking for it is a huge plus in the support system.
Yeah, for
Huge
sure.
plus. Yeah. So there you go.
No, I mean that means a lot, and so like, and it's funny too that we talk about that because and I've mentioned this before. Like in my time in the military, I never cared about awards, right? So,
Yeah.
which held me back from promotions and a few other things. 'Cause I wasn't an award chaser. I wasn't going to go do something just because, like, oh, you'll go good at this. I don't. I'm
Same.
good at my job.
Yeah.
That's all I care about. I'm gonna do my job and do it to the best of my ability.
Yeah. It's an integrity thing.
Yeah, but when I got out and I was working, it was the second company I worked for after I retired out of the army, and I got an award for like engineer of the year, and I was
Okay.
like, I did not realize how much this would mean to me
Mm-hmm.
until it happened.
Yeah.
Because it was something that like it wasn't just handed to you. It wasn't like, oh, like when you deploy and you get an award or whatever. Okay, cool, whatever. Like, hey,
Yeah.
it's not for my job. It is literally because you deployed. You're away from your family for so many months. Here's an award. Like, here's, yay, you went and got this. Like, it was nothing big. Like,
Yeah.
but to get that meant that somebody had to actually think about me and think highly of what the work I was doing and things of that
Right.
nature. So it takes on a whole different spin. And I think that's very important that we do recognize when people are doing these things because to the point, it does help build that confidence that,
Yeah.
holy shit, I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like, especially because when I got this job, I was like, I've never worked on this software.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I can learn it. I've got all these certifications. It says I can learn shit,
Yeah.
but I don't know what this is. I've never used it. And they're like, we got you. You're hired. Cool. And I go in there, rock the house, get an award. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I didn't think I was that good, but all right, cool. And like, it's that confidence boost. I don't want to say ego boost because they're two different things. It's a
Mm-hmm.
confidence
Yeah.
boost. And I think we need to do that more as leaders, more as mentors, more
Yeah.
as just people because at a certain point, the executives, that the senior directors, the CISOs, the CEOs, they lose
Mm-hmm.
that vision. They don't see
It's
the
attachment.
people with hands on keyboard.
Mm-hmm.
So as managers in whatever that has that those first line engineers and analysts and operators under them, that gives them the ability to really believe in what they say and what they know.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's something we need to get more into, as opposed to so you're on LinkedIn. Half
Mm-hmm.
of these awards where you got to pay for the award.
Yep.
What? What? So you're telling me I got to make $500,000 a year just to be able to afford to put myself in for an award? Like that makes
The
no sense,
membership, the chapter membership, the
right?
certification, the
Yeah.
training for the certification, and the award itself. Yeah.
So like it's one of those things that I look at and I'm like, you know, I think giving people their kudos, giving people
Yeah.
it doesn't even have to be awards, just recognizing them within the organization
Yes.
goes a long way.
Absolutely. That's why a lot of people are not. happy. They're not motivated. Morale is a huge thing, especially dealing with. I remember when I first started. I'm the youngest of four kids, and so one day, my brother's just like, "What do you do? Like, what do you do for a living? Like, what work wise?" I said, "Stuff is
And they,
malfunctions." I said, "Stuff malfunctions." If I tell you, I have to kill you. Stuff malfunctions, and I'm the one that has to figure it out. They go, oh, "What?" It's like, yeah. It's like, in a nutshell, something, is perceived to have been broken. Maybe it is broken. I have to fix it. Something mechanical or something software based is malfunctioning, and I have to figure it out. And I said, there's not always documentation for it. And I just kind of let them know that's where you are. So it's almost like you're left in like this large field and told, build a house. Like that's
no
how I,
instruction, or no, you get the IKEA instructions. That's what you get. Build a full house with 10 rooms, a kitchen,
yeah,
uh, everything else, and here's your IKEA
spawner.
instruction booklet for it.
Yeah,
And you're
yeah.
like,
Okay.
so,
I don't have a team.
all right, we'll figure it out on the fly.
it, this needs to be done next week. Oh, okay. And so that there's the highs and the lows of that type of journey, right? You're just like, I can't tell you why I knew something was going to be hard and I still did it. I can't tell you that. All I can tell you is, I guess, yeah, he's like sometimes, like, cyber warrior. You've got that warrior spirit. You're not going to walk away from it. It's a level of integrity that, school can't buy. I always tell people, it's like, my parents gave me good, amazing work ethic, but it's something that I was just born with that just took it to the level that I've taken it and continue to do so, right? And so, yeah, I love that it's cyber warrior because it is. It's like you're going to war. You know what I mean? You got to put the face paint on. You got to get the spear, the shield, all of it, and you got to figure it out. But that's where it's
Wait,
been
I
for a
might be
very
paying
long
if I
time.
put them up here, so we ain't gonna. I do got some implements that are pokey pokey. So
Okay. Yeah. But no, you got to have that warrior spirit to carry out these things. But just getting accolades. Not It doesn't have to be a physical trophy, but even something verbal or something written, like sending an email and, hey, our team just did this migration. This was a 6-month endeavor, and the level of diligence, this, that, and so on and so forth. And they send that and they put your name there. It's just like, okay, so that was worth it. And we shouldn't ask for that, right? We should have discussions where this is something that should be baked into the culture, but there's a cultural leader. If you're the, if you're the SME, cybersecurity SME or something like that, that's what you do. You're not the culture leader. Can you be an enforcer of the culture? Absolutely. And, in some cases, that's what we all do when we become a part of these organizations, but there is a culture leader, there's a culture committee. And what does the culture look like to them? That's why when I do interview questions, I'm asking at least 3 to 5 questions about the culture. If they can't explain those to me, I don't care about the mission statement on the website because we all know that's just PR. I care about the words from either HR, hiring manager, the actual manager that I would be working under, report to. How do they feel about the company culture? If it takes them a minute, oh, well, then it's
I
just
would
not
even
there.
go to them. So not to cut you off, but the way
No,
I
you're
would
good.
do things is go literally, and this is what I tell everybody: do your
Hmm.
research on the organization itself and find
Yeah.
people that work there. Ask the people, how do you feel about this company? How
Yeah.
do you feel about the work you're doing? Do you feel like you're doing the work you're supposed to be doing? All these different things. Because when you talk to like a hiring manager or even the manager you're going to be working for, right? Which
Hmm.
sometimes are the same person,
Yeah.
they're still going to give you 9 times out of 10, they're looking for someone to work for them. They're still going to give you fluff. They're still going to tell you,
I know.
"Oh, it's fantastic. You want to be here." Meanwhile, in the back of their head, they're saying, "I hate this place. I want to leave this place, but I need someone that will actually help make my life a little easier."
Yeah.
Like,
I Yeah, I get it. Yeah, but also, we're what I love about this time is we have places, websites like Glassdoor, where people are just given the agency to be very transparent. I've seen some interesting reviews.
I see, but me personally, I have a as much as I think it was meant for good,
Yeah.
I think people get vindictive,
Oh
right?
yeah. Oh
So
yeah. Absolutely.
someone gets fired because they didn't show up for work for 3 days with no
Goes.
excuse,
Hmm.
and then so they get fired, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, this is a POS company. We don't care about them. Like
Yep.
they treated me like trash. Da da da. Meanwhile, it was they never called in and said, hey, I gotta go to these
Yeah.
doctors.
Just sour. Just bitter.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so um, it I think Glassdoor could be very. I think some of it's legit. Some
Yeah.
of it is just vindictive, bitter
Yeah.
people.
I've seen
Um,
it. It's a variable that I do check out. I won't say it's a gospel. I don't think anything is other
now,
than
when
you.
every review is bad, that's a fucking problem.
Boom. It's like,
You've
what
got
did
a
you do
thousand
to
reviews
piss
on your
people off?
company, and all of them are shit.
Yeah.
You probably don't want to work
No,
there.
you don't. No, but obviously, yeah, like do your research on these companies because I always tell people that the interview isn't them just interviewing you. It's like it's a handshake. Like you should ask questions. You should be just as engaged. Don't think you're being interrogated. It's an opportunity for you to get to know the company. It's an opportunity for you to get to know who's in front of you. Hopefully, there's someone you'll actually work with. If not, then at least you know how HR is, you know what I mean? But I would just say go into the interview and understanding that this is a conversation. That's how I
Yeah,
look at it now. Even when like, if a recruiter reaches out to me and I'm just like, okay, yeah, let's just have a conversation. I know sometimes we hype them up and we get like really caught up in our heads, but that confidence factor comes into play. It's just like, do you want to win? Yes or no? Yes. Then don't put yourself in a position to lose. Being nervous, can you transmute that energy into something positive? Absolutely. But you got to call yourself out on it. You know what I mean? You got to say, all right, you're
oh,
acting really nervous and you're about to freak out and you're not going to win. You're about to fail, actually. So pull back, but I still have contacts, that were previous mentors. I still will check in with them from time to time. I think like 2 weeks ago, I checked in with one of my mentors just to see how he is. And he just, I told him what my next moves were. He's like, I'm proud of you. I remember when you were an intern, and you need those type of conversations to keep the momentum going. You know what I mean? So
well, you
it's
need that, but you also need the people that are going to keep you grounded and tell you you're being an idiot.
yeah,
And I think that's and I've seen other conversations on LinkedIn and other social media platforms, and I even talked about it before. Is that toxic positivity
hmm,
where people are always like, "Oh no, you're right, you're right, you're right." You're basically surrounding yourself with yes men
yeah,
and saying, "Oh yeah, everything you're doing is fantastic. Yeah, go that route. You're gonna be good to go." Meanwhile, they might be as dumb as a brick and not know a damn thing that they're talking about,
yeah,
but they got all this freaking people hyping them up
hmm,
because they're afraid to tell them no. Like, so you got to make sure that even your mentors can put you in line and be like, "Nah, homie, that that ain't
yeah.
the one. That ain't the one."
That's yeah. Having multiple mentors, I recommend for people. Some people say you have one where you want to be, one where you are, and then one where you've been. And so, okay, have I strategically done that? No, I think it's just, you do have to, it's an energetic thing as well, right? You
Yeah,
just surround yourself with, even us doing this, who knows what happens after this, we become good friends, who knows, right? But at the end of the day, me reaching out to you, you say, okay, well, this person just came out of nowhere. And that could be something that leads to being a part of a community together, right?
right.
You put yourself out there. The mentor that I have now, this guy, I mean, what hasn't he done? And I just found him through similar connections on LinkedIn. And I just say, hey, I'm looking for a mentor. This is where I am with what I want. I want to be a thought leader, so on and so forth. But I use that confidence that I have, regardless if people are going to say no. Because it's just like, I've applied for enough jobs and people told me no, thank you. Where it's just like rejection is rejection. the worst thing they could do is not respond at all, right? So,
I did a video about that today.
oh yeah,
Worst thing you could say, look, ask the question.
yeah,
Worst is going to happen is they're going to say no.
yeah.
Doesn't change your life any. You
Billions of
didn't have
people
it
in the
before, you
world.
don't have it now. No is no. It's not going to change your life any.
It's not. It's not.
You
I've
know,
had
and if they
well,
say yeah, if they say yes, then cool. Now you're in a different situation,
right.
right? And especially in your career, and that goes back to like raises, promotions, your
Yep.
relationships, everything. If you want something, you got to communicate. You got to ask the questions. If you don't ask, the answer is always no.
Yes.
You're not going to get a
Guaranteed.
yes until you ask.
Guaranteed. Yeah. And I had to learn that. Like for years, I would just shut up, and I shut up too much. I just knocked out 20, 50 tickets, whatever, killing it. My metrics against my other peers was ridiculous. Major gap. I'm on the phone handling tickets before I hang up the phone, you know? And I just went for it. I just freaking supersonic, but I didn't ask for more money. I didn't ask for different responsibilities for a while. Those were things that I had to learn honestly through work experience, and also getting to a point where it's like I need help. I need mentors because I don't like this. But what happened was I just hit this wall of just burnout, lack of appreciation. Definitely there was some toxicity going on. Before we hopped on live, how we were talking about toxic environments and how they're going to stay that way. Like you can't transmute an entire organization.
Right.
You know what I mean? And you have to call it. So I would say that was one of the biggest things. But after that experience, I made a major, major pivot, and I just didn't look back, and I counter offer. Um, I would not jump at the chance to always interview. I would do, like, if I didn't get research with the company, I just didn't have time for whatever reason. I would say, hey, instead of doing Friday, let's do next Wednesday. And it's like, well, what if you missed the chance of being hired? It's like that paranoia stopped being the driver.
Right.
My confidence, and if it's for me, they will let me interview on Wednesday and not tomorrow, kind of thing.
Right.
And the amount of good interviews, like the quality of the interview changed because my confidence changed. You know, I started to
Absolutely.
take better care of myself mentally because I'm talking through what I want out of this life when it comes to working. It's like we're all doing this 8 to 5 thing, right? What do you want to get out of this? You know, what do you want to get out of this? Do you just want to get a paycheck, or do you want this? Do you want that? I love where we are with technology and how we can, you're a content creator. You're doing these interviews, you're meeting all these people. Like I said, you're building a community, you're building a network outside of your work. So that creates a whole nother pathway for you, right?
Oh yeah.
And it's very rewarding, right? If you guys didn't create this content, I would have never known this topic, that topic in the way that you've structured it. And sometimes you just don't comprehend stuff because it's not computing, right? So it's like you serve a purpose, you serve a purpose. But at one point you had to say, I got to do this. I got to get on this mic. I got to get on this camera. And I just got to share my knowledge, to the world, kind of thing.
Definitely, and it's a big deal. I got a question from About That Wallet. I'm going to put up here, brother. I haven't forgot about you. Which, if you're not following his podcast, his show, please go do it.
Okay.
About That Wallet is amazing. He's been on this show before.
Uh-huh.
He is an IT guy, if you don't know, but
Gotcha.
his content is all about finances and money and budgeting. I love
Oh,
him to death. Great dude.
nice.
Um, but when I look at confidence, when I look at interviews, when I look at these different things, it's funny because I had one of the people I hired actually. Her name was Paula. I love her to death. She still
Mhm.
works for me to this day. Um, I said, "All right, cool," and she had given a range of salary.
Okay.
Uh, I knew it in advance, and I said, "Cool." So when I talked to her, when I do my initial interviews with people, I'm not the technical person. Could I
Okay.
ask technical questions? Sure, and I'll get a little bit of a technical background. But for me, it's more about your confidence, how you carry yourself. Are you going to fit in? Like these types of things. Like we just have a conversation. It's kind of like the way I run my show.
Yeah.
I just want to have a natural conversation.
Yeah.
But one of the things I told her, do not underbid yourself.
Yes.
And let my company hear this and get mad at me. But I
Yeah.
don't care. That is how I work, because I'm not going to pay someone less because they ask for less. Like, oh, we can save money, so we're just going to pay them this amount.
That is
Oh,
very
nay.
honorable of you.
I literally told her,
uh,
I said, what do you want to make?
hmm
I said, cool. I said, now what do you think you deserve?
hmm
And she's like, well, this. I said, then ask me. I was like, I'll go to bat for you. If you truly feel in your heart that's what you deserve,
hmm
we'll see what we can do. But
Okay.
never sell yourself short.
Yeah.
You know what you know. And so when I look at things and I judge people's confidence and I judge like how they interview,
hmm
if I am telling you you're moving on, that means as a person, you're moving on. I'm not going to speak to you technically.
hmm
Like, I'm not going to say you are technically able to fulfill this role. What
Okay.
I will tell you is you're going to meet with my engineers
hmm
who are smarter than I am, and they'll judge you technically.
hmm
But as a person, do not lose your confidence. And if you don't know something, admit that you don't know something.
Yeah.
Don't lie. Don't bullshit my engineers, because I really do go out of my way to hire the smartest people I can find
Yeah.
to be able to do the job. So if you're applying to a job, I'm going to have you meet with the smart people. That ain't this guy. So you
Oh,
might be
stop
able
it.
to like get one over on me technically, but not them.
I'll cut it out. You're smart. You're a smart guy. Come on.
Oh, I've been doing this way too long, so I know what I know, but
Yeah.
I also know what I don't know. And there are certain things that I hire for that I'm like, hey, I'm tapping you in, homie. Like, you're gonna have to do this line of
Help me.
questioning.
Yeah. I get it. I get it. No, I
But again,
totally
I
agree.
tell people like, ask for what you feel you deserve. Look
Yeah.
at what the median income is, what the annual salary is for these
hmm
positions. Do not come in at the bottom,
Yeah.
because
No.
every single company is going to try to come in at the bottom. But if
Yes.
you ask for the mid level or the higher level, well, now they know they're
Got
only
some
going to
wiggle
get
room.
you if they like meet that they got to find you in the middle.
Yeah.
But if you come in at the bottom, companies are like, "Yep, cool, here you go,
There you go.
you're fine."
Yep.
You could have made 10, 15 grand more in a year, and you
Yep.
don't know it because you didn't ask.
hmm
And that comes down to confidence. Ask for it. You don't. You're not going to get a no until you ask.
Yeah. They're gonna say no. They're gonna say no. That's it. I
So
get it.
I do have a question here, though.
Yeah.
It's who? It's a good one.
How do you keep from losing hope from all the denials when
How do
applying
you
for
keep
jobs?
from
Ooh.
losing hope from all the denials when applying for jobs?
Okay.
You
So
tell me.
one of the things that I've learned over the years is if you have a strategy, right? You have to say if I'm a dad, mom, all the stuff comes into play because you can't have too many complicated things. You'll get overwhelmed and you'll get cranky, right? So if you're applying for jobs, some of these job applications are like a day long activity, you know. And I think that's the thing that we overlook is how long it takes you to apply for a job, like the job application itself, creating the account. So now I read the job description and I say, do I need to apply to this? Does it just sound cool? Does it sound like I would be good at this? Or is it actually something of interest? If I take on this role, would I keep this for 5 years? And like we were just talking about that salary range, if my minimum is not the minimum for that range they've provided, if big if they've provided, then I don't need to, I don't think I need to do it. I think somewhere in that higher range that I'm looking for should be the minimum. That makes
Right.
sense? Yeah. Because now I'm like, if my salary is not going to be an extra $30,000 a year, there's no point for me applying. That's where I am. Because if
Ah,
you start,
me and you both. Me and you
look,
both. If I'm not
high
getting a
five.
promotion, high five. If I ain't getting a promotion out of it in
Yeah,
salary, I ain't doing it. I ain't
Because
leaving.
you if you calculate 15 extra 15 grand a year, it's not that much. Monthly, it's not that much. You're like, I got to do 30 to forty
After
thousand dollars
taxes, fuck that.
after
It might
taxes.
as
Yeah,
well be $500 more a month.
right. It really is. That after everything, it comes down to it. So I'm at a point where I go, let me research the company. Let me see if they can actually afford me. That's that confidence factor kicking in. Can this company
Yeah,
afford me for this role? I'd rather people do more research on not applying to, a job than just applying because it has a large salary and then that's what they need. So don't set yourself up for failure. You have to accept you will get denied. That's not being negative, that's being realistic because I know you do hiring. I've done hiring in the past. I've actually, been in the portal and I've seen the applications. And there's way more people who do not correctly apply for the job anyway. And they go to that filter that's like a no go anyway.
yeah.
And lessen your chances of being frustrated, wasting your time, because every job, every environment is not for you. I love when companies say, hey, we'll see if you're the right fit for us. That's not them being disrespectful. That's them letting you know we have an idea of who we want to join us in this organization. And if it's not you, it's not you. But if you're not self aware, that's going to be the problem all the time.
And
So,
be aware when you're working federal government.
yeah.
Um, I know certain people that work as a GS position,
Hmm.
and they know who I'm talking
Yeah.
to. They already know who they want to hire.
Yes, they
They
do.
literally GS positions are mandated to go open to the public. 9 times out of 10, especially for something like a GS 13, a GS 15, like more of your senior positions,
Hmm.
they already know who they want to hire. It's just mandated that they got to go and put it out to the public for
Yeah.
promoting someone internally.
It's
That's
formality. Yeah.
legitimately what's happening.
Yeah.
So when you get turned down for like a GS role, don't be mad. Like,
Yeah.
one, I would never want to work for the government again in my life. But two, it is literally especially like your management and when you get
Yeah.
to SES and things like that, they're promoting internally. Like I wouldn't even apply for
Yeah.
certain positions
It
because I'm
happens a
like,
lot.
that's a
It happens. Yeah.
management position. I know that's going to be an internal promotion.
Hmm.
So what's the
Yeah.
point? Like, and they require a 10-page resume because
Yes.
GS positions require you to put on every job you have
Yes.
ever worked in your fucking life.
Everything. Everything.
It's
And
ridiculous.
and the dates have to be as accurate as possible. Everything.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
And so
Everything.
well, my guy, I really wish you like had a regular fucking thing about that wallet. Sounds kind of weird to fucking say all the time, but
About that one.
I love him to death. That's my dude. I
No,
love
it's
like
good.
he's like the first one to promote shit for me on Twitter whenever I post stuff.
Nice,
Absolutely love
nice.
him.
Yeah, but
Um,
losing hope, don't put your hope in the hands of people who don't know you.
so on that note, and he did. He said, we're going to hit on that, but I want to say this. Getting that now after putting in the work to apply and cater your resume to the job request is very difficult, right? It's
Yeah,
very,
man.
very hard to wrap your mind around it. Here's the thing. And when it comes to hope, when it comes to faith, when it comes to all this other stuff,
Hmm.
you have to understand you can only worry and stress about the things you can control.
Boom.
When you were applying for work, when you were applying for a job, when you were doing all these things, once it's done, it's done. It's out of your
Yeah.
control.
Hmm.
So if they say no, then cool. And there's a reason why. And this is what I'm gonna tell you, and I'll tell everybody else. And I've told a lot of people that have been on this show
Hmm.
because they've talked about race, gender, and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
If a company doesn't hire you for a specific reason, whether it be qualifications, race, gender, sex, it doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
You did not belong there anyways
You didn't.
because you would have been in a position where you were unhappy, where
Hmm.
you were stressed out, where you were worried, where you were frustrated, and everything else. You need to find that company,
Hmm.
and that right company will hire you because you belong there,
Yeah.
because you deserve to be there.
Yeah.
You may think you deserve to be at Facebook, be a piece of shit company that you
Like,
don't want to work
nah.
for.
Yeah.
I don't like Fang. I will never work for Fang. That's just me.
Mm-hmm.
But you may think you deserve to be at this company, but then they talk to you and they're like,
Ah,
well, you
yeah.
see, so are you going to show up for work? Or, one of those companies is like, so are you planning on having kids? Like, and I know this has happened in interviews. I have
I've been asked that. Not often.
exactly
Not often,
no, but
but I have been
it
asked that.
happens. So when you come across these, it's like, I don't want to work for you. Like, I
Hmm.
legitimately, that is not a position I want to put myself in
I
because it is
laugh.
a detriment to you.
I laughed on the inside because it's just like they don't need to know that.
No,
If they're asking something like that, just run. And there's a
that's really what it
professional
comes down
way.
to.
Yeah, there's a professional way to respectfully decline moving forward in the interview process.
I've literally sat there and been like, actually, to be fair, I've not been respectful. So what had happened was
Okay. All
I
right.
told a company, I had a recruiter, and I forget what the company was.
Uh-huh.
They said, hey, do you want to, apply for this job? And I had said, it was an old company I was working for.
Hmm.
Um, I had just started there, and this other company called me. I was like, it's going to cost you 250 grand a year.
Yeah.
And they were like, best we can do is like 200 with options. And I said, fuck no. I told you 250, get back. Now, mind you, that would have been life changing for me at that time. I was
Right.
making nowhere near that amount, but
Doesn't
I was
matter. It
like,
doesn't matter. It does not
I
matter.
gave you, this company took care of me when I was down and out. I was going to be there for them. I
Yeah.
do have loyalty to people. And
Yes.
so I was like, I'm going to be here for you. And so when they were like, oh, well, we can't offer you that. Nah, bitch, I'm out.
Yeah.
They're like, but I'm like, no, I told you 250. You didn't come in at 250.
Yeah.
You're not getting my work. I'm a
I,
dick.
I, I
That's all.
said I said what I said. No, I'm as I'm typing the professional message, I am saying I'm you. I'm you. You are my spirit. You're my spirit animal. Okay. But I just translated.
So you're the type that, like, when you want to say "fuck you" in a professional manner, you'll be like, "Per my last email."
Boo. Per per I may spell it PER, but it's really PUR. Because I'm just like, because I know what they're doing. I know what they're doing. I know that, like you said, they're going to offer you the lowest amount of money that they
Oh
can,
yeah.
and it's just the way that they are. So now I say, hey, I'd love to, before we hop on this call, technical crew's already trying to get you on the call, right? So I'm just like, before we hop on the call, can you let me know what the salary compensation range is, right? Or I will say, can we
Oh, any
discuss?
company that will not give you the salary range,
Tell it.
do not interview, do not apply.
Don't do it.
Because what they're gonna do then, and like we
Yeah.
literally put it out there, and half the time, actually, I've seen on LinkedIn, we put out the hiring manager also, so
Yeah.
you should know
Yep.
who to reach out to.
The
But
hiring
if you are not,
manager, talent acquisition,
yep,
maybe even the whole team, like the three, four people. Yeah, yeah.
I love AI.
I know.
That's my boy AR. I love him to death. He's been on the show, I think, 2 or 3 times in the past.
Oh yeah.
But so this is what I want to do, Amber. I'm gonna give you the show
Oh.
for the next couple minutes
Okay.
to talk about interviews
Okay.
and any advice you can give to people trying to interview because I'll end up taking over the show and this is all about
This
you
is
right
fine. This
now.
is
So
fine.
you
Um.
I can rant, so I'm gonna let you go for a little bit.
Okay. All right, folks. So honestly, like this is a great question that we had is, how do you, maintain hope? Like I said, don't give it to the hands of, people who don't know you personally. We are at a time where we have great, specifically cyber security communities. Join them, talk to people about what you're interested in on a regular basis. There is a lot of people on these Discord servers. Get into it. LinkedIn, leverage LinkedIn is it's social media, but it's social media for professional matters, and go for that. Interview questions. I prepare. You can use AI if you want to. You say, hey, this job description, give me 10 to 20 questions that would be great for me to ask. I'm more interested in culture. I'm more interested And don't say pay, because we all know everybody wants to get paid. You're like, look beyond a salary, right? You have to look beyond the salary because everyone wants to get paid. Do your research, but when you have the opportunity to speak to the technical recruiter, you have to know, like, what we talked about earlier. That first engagement with a representative from the company is going to be someone who just wants to see if it's worth getting an interview, like the real deal. That's the opportunity for you to talk about your expertise. So you got to have the confidence for that, you know. Um, it's also an opportunity for you to ask kind of like the basic questions, like, hey, is this a new role or this or that? But get nerd out on talking to the technical recruiter, nerd out on the interview itself, have fun, find other ways of, talking more to people about what you're interested in about cybersecurity. Just going and getting a certification, studying, it doesn't cut it these days. We're in a very kind of people focused space because, what we were talking about offline, it's all about culture. And another thing that I don't think we touch bases on is the learning curve. We have all these different frameworks that have existed for a very long time, but now they're actually being enforced. So there's a lot of jobs available in cybersecurity space. Whether you want to be some type of engineer, analyst, whether you want to go in the GRC space, if you're looking to become a manager at some point, if that's your pathway, leadership in some capacity, consulting. But at the end of the day, a lot of jobs with a lot of large companies, and they're pretty good salaries. And don't, short, sell yourself. Be your best advocate, but realistically, be your best advocate. There are other, YouTube channels as well as this one that give great advice and different aspects. They talk about burnout, things like that. Um, don't just sit there all day applying for a bunch of jobs. Pick the ones that you actually, think that you would like and think that you're ready to take on as a responsibility. Taking into consideration if you have families, if you're the primary breadwinner, that does change things. A lot of people don't like to do consulting because they do have to travel more. Me, I'm perfectly fine with it. I like traveling. But just, you got to know who you are. And the best way to do that, you have to ask questions to yourself.
Right.
Don't just sit there and just be very reactive. You have to, sit back and observe the landscape that we're in. We're in a really good time for education, but the way it's handled is like content is being created in this very casual way. But these are smart people. Like everybody that I've seen that have these channels are very smart people, well seasoned people, and we all come here. Let me just give you a little. But no, they're really sharp. You can tell. But also very giving. They're giving people their time. They're sharing the knowledge. Like all the stuff that we've done to be here. We did a lot of dumb stuff to be this experienced. I want to say that.
Look, never break your dad's computer at like 8 years old by
I did
trying
it.
a hard drive when hard drives are like $150, $200 and y'all motherfuckers are flat broke.
I
That is the
bought.
worst thing you can do
Yes.
and will force you to learn how to fix computers.
I broke my dad's. I broke my dad's laptop 3 times. Two with liquid,
Dude!
and one like audio jack. Like, yeah, he was
No,
pissed.
all right. So
Pissed.
we gonna go on a little story time real quick, and then I do have a question for
Okay.
Space Tacos because it's awesome. But
What's up, space tacos?
on the note of breaking computers,
Yes.
so we have the one that I broke with my dad's, and it was what got me into IT and everything. I've told that story a million times, but basically, I didn't even break it. I turned the bitch on, and the hard drive was fried. It was like, hey, you have no boot sector, you have no C drive. Good luck, have fun.
That's the story
Uh,
you're sticking to.
but then I had my oldest, and I had a little at the time. I was real big into hacking and learning my way through wireless hacking and all this stuff. So I had a Samsung NC10, which
Okay.
was one of the original mini laptops basically that you can get. It was like 10 inches, real tiny. And I was like, well, I'll let my son at night. And he was only like 2 or 3 years old. But I was like, you can't really do anything. It's what's the worst he's going to do? It was like $100 I paid for it. No big deal.
It's
Right.
the worst. Okay.
And I said, what's the worst he can do? Kid you not. Me and my wife
Watch.
were laying in
Watch.
bed that night. And you hear
Mm-hmm.
click, 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 click. And we're like, what the hell is he doing? So we go into his room because his room was right next to ours.
Yeah.
He literally was picking all the keys off the keyboard.
Oh.
Every single one
Oh.
was almost gone by the time I went in there. So I fixed it all.
Wow.
Took it away from him for a while. Was like, nah, homie, this ain't how it's going to go down. You ain't allowed to do this. Thought I
Yeah.
taught him better. He started using it better, was being a better, was using it more the correct way. Then I made that mistake again. Never again. He did not get that computer the rest of the time he was a toddler. No. No computer for
What
you.
was he using to get the keys
His
off?
finger.
Oh. Okay.
Literally picking them off. Every
Oh.
key. It's like,
Wow.
dude. So
Wow.
I've had my kids break so much stuff that I'm like, I'm done buying stuff for you for a while, homie. Like,
Yeah.
nah, we
Yeah.
ain't doing this. Look, money takes time to get.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
money don't grow on. I mean, technically it grows on trees, but money don't grow
Technically.
on trees. Okay, I can't just go out there,
And just
grab a
start
few
plucking the
hundreds,
money tree.
and and
Yeah.
and and give you stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I got you.
yeah, it was having my son pull the keys off keyboard taught me real quick.
While you're
Don't
trying to
give.
like go to sleep or something. Yeah.
Oh, I was. I was really laying there. Me and my wife laying like, what's this? And you hear click, click, click. Maybe he's typing on the keyboard. Click, click,
Nope.
click, click, click. Hold up, no, something ain't right. And then you go and you're like, no, 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 no,
No.
nay,
Yeah.
nay.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
not gonna happen.
Yeah. Yeah. No, thankfully,
Space
I
Tacos.
yeah.
She's a trip.
What'd she
What's the
say?
worst he could do? Toddler, hold
Toddler,
my
hold my
bottle.
bottle.
And yet here I am holding a bottle.
Exactly.
But
No, toddlers
but she
can
did
do
have a really
damage.
good question though, and I want to get to this because this is very important when you're looking for jobs and kind of where you think you fit in. What
Okay.
do you ask for salary wise if you know you barely meet the minimum requirements? Shut up about requirements. I'm gonna tell you that
Yep.
right now. Do you
Yeah.
still aim for the middle?
And you got to go for it. Once again, confidence. You going through this interview process. Some of these people, organizations have gotten really bold, and they make the interview process last for like weeks. I'm never fond of those companies. You want to go for a company that's very efficient. You have to believe that you can do it. My mentor told me, he said a guy had 10 years of experience with a piece of software and one guy had experience with 2 years. He interviewed both of them. He found out that the person with the 2 years was more versed in the software, and the guy with 10 years, he just did kind of like it, just maintain, you know the environment
Right.
within the software, right? So when you talk about minimum requirements, I have to be honest, it's just HR jargon that they have to put out there. And when you get into the interview, that's when you start to showcase your skill set. Um, you got to know what you're worth, and you have to lead with that. You also have to lead with being able to explain that and it not come off in a way that's not very, like, oh, I'm very good at this. It's like, how are you good with that?
Right.
How are you capable of doing this? Me, for example, I put on resumes, this is the certification that I'm obtaining in the next month or two, kind of thing. And this is why, something like that. And it's relevant to the position that I'm applying for. So if you're trying to get a leadership role, there are different skill sets for leadership roles versus engineering roles. And you need to know, one, have the time. If you need to change your resume, change your resume. Think back every single time you had a situation where you stepped up and you became a leader. Everybody has them. Everybody has
Oh
them.
yeah, and people deny it, and that's
Yeah.
one of the biggest things that I think the military suffers with is they
Yeah.
don't know how to translate their experience
Boom.
into a resume.
Yeah.
And to your point, we've all done leadership, every single one of us. Unless you're
Yeah.
just a follower and you just choose to follow the crowd and
I,
never step up and be an individual.
Unless
Um,
that,
we've all
yeah,
done stuff to be a leader. If you have literally taken the reins of a project and been like, you know what, I own this. This is mine. I'm gonna take
yeah,
it over. We're gonna run with it. You're a
yes,
leader.
yep,
Stand 10 toes down on that, and literally believe in who you are and what you're capable
hmm
of. To that point, like now, if you are the shy, quiet type that never wants to be in front of people, doesn't want to be in the spotlight, and doesn't want to be a leader, look, you do you, boo boo. But you're only going to get so far in this industry, in any industry, by
yep.
staying in the shadows. If you
I
want
used to be
to go,
that person. I used to be that person. Like that's what I was telling you earlier about a mentor that I had for years. That's why I said he was proud of me because it was just like you're stepping into the power that you've always had, kind of thing, right? Um, to what you were saying earlier when you said 250 or nothing, and it's just like you said, I didn't have it anywhere close to that. That doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. If that's what you want, that's what you're worth. You got to go for it. Me, I know that I can get that salary. I know I can. I just got to do what I got to do to get there, you
oh
know?
yeah,
And one of the things is just tell these recruiters no. Like the ones who are offering a salary range that's just not going to fit your salary requirements. You just say, hey, let's connect. If you have other more competitive options later down the road, we're connected, boom, and keep it moving.
yep,
So, one of the best things that you can do to get to where you belong is to get those people out of the way, the other things out of the way. You got to have time to study. That's why I said these communities that are being built, be a part of them. What is it? ISACA, they have their own like volunteer, options. You can go and volunteer. You could be part of like some code of ethic committee for a whole year and get that level of experience, build a network within that particular organization association. Next thing you know, you got a job offer, and it's what you want and it's what you deserve.
yep.
Yeah, so
And
you have to make time for those things. It's no longer okay. Let me just go into work and let me just do what I did, for work and get the check and that's it. Like cybersecurity is not, it's not that basic. it's
no, no, it's not, and it's. I mean, granted, some people treat it that way. But,
yeah,
on the note of, like, asking salary-wise if you meet the bare minimum requirements, again, to the point, you have to interview correctly and you have to ask the right questions,
yeah,
right? So just because the requirement says, "Hey, you need 2 to 5 years of experience,"
hmm
and you've been in it for 2, but what did you learn in that 2?
yes,
What do you know? What are you capable of? And this goes
yeah,
back to our talk about confidence. Know who you are, know what you can do. The reason I got a 30 grand a year pay bump from one job to another was because when I went and interviewed for that job, I was like, look, I don't know this software, but you put me behind it for less than a week and I will know it in and out. I
yep,
will know every single thing about it. Because at the time I'm fully capable of learning any software out there.
yeah,
Just give me the time of day to learn it. And this is what we're going to be behind. We had all the, they were like, cool. We got all the, the SOPs, how to do things, da da da
hmm
da. That you're like, all right, cool, you got the job.
yeah,
But like I was also understood, and here's the difference: is I also understand underlying fundamentals of networks and operating systems and security.
hmm
So when we're looking at this industry, you may only meet the minimum requirements security wise of a particular architecture or software or something like that. But what else do you know?
yeah.
What else do you bring to the table that somebody else may
Project management, your soft skills, things like that. So I would say honestly, do like an analysis. Like that's why I use ChatGPT. I do an analysis. I have the job description and my resume as it is, and I say, give me a percentage wise what domains I need to focus on,
Yeah.
and it will talk me through it. And I go, okay, it's like, have I done that before? I have done that before. We were talking offline, and it was about when COVID hit, how they got rid of our project managers because they were contractors technically, and they got rid of our technical writing group. And because of what my duties I agreed to do to come on board, I had to wear multiple hats, and there were some leadership situations that I just had to take the reins. At one point, we didn't have a manager. I decided to hold the meetings, and now I can use that on my resume and say that I have leadership skills. We had successful projects. We kept going above and beyond and fixing certain things. I still had to do patching. I had to do project management and patching. and do it right, you know. And it worked. It happened. It happened. I did it. It happened again, and I did it again. But at some point, obviously, I'm not a system engineer anymore. I just decided I've reached, Forrest Gump when he's just running, and everybody starts running with him. And then at one point, he just stops and he turns around. And he's like, "Well, I'm just gonna go home now."
All right, I'm gonna take my beer and go home. We
I'm
good.
gonna just take it, And I just got to that point because it was just like, oh, this is gonna stay like this. And then I also realized I've got enough experience that I can leverage this.
Yeah.
So I would say always have a strategy in mind. It's gonna take you a while. Like I will sit down for like 30 days, not straight, obviously, but in a 30-day period, I will come up with my next professional pathway. And that's what I did very recently. And now, being here with you guys is a part of that. Next thing you know, do a presentation at a conference. Then, be a part of a committee that actually gets to, like we talked about the code of ethics, what were we talking about earlier, where the baseline of security controls. It's like, I need more than that. There has to be a committee that's going to expand on those. They have to dedicate the time that's going to take to talk it out and make these, I guess you say, like security control enhancements, and who is that going to be? Everybody, that is watching us right now, you could be a part of that as you are today. You just have to know how to honestly sell yourself to the people who make those type of decisions.
Yeah, as we're over the top of the hour, so we're gonna end here in a minute. But
Okay.
you know, um, you have to put yourself out there. You have to be able to be networking and talking to others. And for me, right, so I'm gonna get into Space Taco's comment here in a second, but I want to touch on this. The reason I do this show
Mm-hmm.
is because I want to give people a place where you don't have to get all dressed up and be professional and
Yeah.
put it in an RFP and hope I'm going to get invited. No, like everybody can come on this show. You all belong. You all want to be here. As long as you have something to say, you were smart enough to do it. Right? I've had college students. I've had CISOs. I've had directors. I've had
Yeah.
engineers and analysts. Everything. And the reason I do this show is because you have to get your name out there. You have to
Yeah.
network. You have to be able to promote yourself. This is the one place you can come to that I don't give a damn who you are. Say what you want. And as long as you're comfortable saying it and letting others know this is your authentic self, because that's what they're hiring.
Yep.
That is what I hire. I hire for authenticity. If you
Mm-hmm.
tell me you don't know something, good. Let's fix that. Let's go forth and fix what you don't know. Because I can fix what you don't know. I can't fix if you're too I can't fix, hey, maybe I'm gonna lie on my resume to try to get an interview. I can't
You
fix
got
all
to
that.
keep that lie up. You got to keep that lie up.
Like
Just
you
like you.
tell me you know something you don't know. One, either myself or my engineer is going to catch you bullshitting, and
Yeah,
you're
they're
not
gonna.
going to get
Yeah.
hired anyways.
Yeah.
You know, so there's these things. You got to be your authentic self, and this show is probably the only show I have ever seen on YouTube or listen to in any podcast that allows you to be your authentic self. Everything else is pre-planned questions, pre-planned answers, and all that other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So guess what? You want to get hired? You might want to prepare here because I can actually talk to you like a fucking human being
Yeah.
and not like a robot that's going to ask you to prepare. That's how I operate. But on that note, Space
Mic
Taco's
drop.
comment. I'll come back. Trust me. I got some last words for you that
Oh.
I want you to get in.
Okay.
One skill people really need help with is learning how to transfer skills from other jobs to match skills from their new jobs in cybersecurity. There are tons of transferable skills to use. Absolutely valid. We've talked about it in the past. I'm gonna let you follow up on this comment, Amber,
Okay.
and then I want to get your final word.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. I started actually with marketing as a freelancer, and then I joined a company. So this is way before I actually did IT. This is like what I paid my way through college. There, my last role in that was customer success manager. So I was already kind of just doing like these client acquisitions, for these, small businesses. So coming in, transitioning from that marketing space to IT, there's already those soft skills being built because, you're talking about web development. There's already technical aspects that I was already working with. And so people have to stop just feeling bad about themselves because you haven't really read into a job description. You just read it like, oh my gosh, I don't have that. And it's like, stop being so quick to deny yourself of something. You know, it's if you have experience, you have experience. And once again, it's how you say it. How are you making the connections? One of the things that people also don't understand is we got to step our vocal, like our verbal and written skills up. Because a lot of people, yeah, I'm really good at that. I can write to this, I can talk about that, but you don't practice. And as a person, I'm a technical writer. I look at documentation all day. I've had to go in places in my mind that I didn't
My
know
mind
existed
space.
in
I had to
my
get all
mind
in here.
space. I had to use my whole brain to really figure out to make this connection to that connection. And you know, because if you lie, you got to keep it up. You know, you got to keep it. If you get hired and you lie, you're like, whew, okay, I'm past that part. No, what happens when this major project comes and they're like, well, you've done project management, go ahead, knock it out, and you're like, ah. Now some people, they are once again that warrior and they rise to the occasion. But if you're that person that just said, okay, well, let me just lie and let's just get this over with, kind of thing, it's no, this is a job. You sign up for a job in an organization and they pay you, and have integrity with it. One of the things about being in cybersecurity, you have to have integrity. You have to. And that's it.
Integrity first, service before self.
Yeah.
But no, I absolutely agree. For all those that are just tuning in, for all those that have never watched me before, advice to people just breaking in is huge on me because the show is all about newcomers and how we can get them into the industry, how we can get them on this show to
Mm-hmm.
make a name for themselves. Um, Look, everything Amber said is absolutely correct. And when I look at transferable skills, when I look at organizations, when I look at how to do things, you can translate things to different industries. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't matter what industry you're in. You could be in cybersecurity and leave and go to another industry and still transfer those skills. There are still things you know that are better than others.
Yep.
Same with the military to any other industry. Same with, whatever. So have confidence in who you are. Be proud of who you are, and legitimately go out there day in and day out and do the best you can. And when it comes to resumes and soft skills and things like that, podcasts, shows, going to conferences, talking to people,
Mm-hmm.
that's how we succeed in a lot of industries is by building our network and being able to do more.
Yeah.
Uh, so I personally am big on motivation, mental health,
Yeah.
success, and goals. You want to reach out, feel free to reach out. You want to be on the show, be on the show. Reach out to me. I'll have you on any day of the week. I love you all. Um, Otherwise, Amber, it's been fantastic having you on.
Yeah.
It's been a great episode. For everybody else out there, you're all my warriors. You're all my family. I love each and every one of you. Take
Aw.
care. And actually, I won't be back next week because I'll be recovering from surgery, but I'll probably be back the week after that.
You take care.
I always take care.
Yeah.
Love you all. Take care. I'll see you in the next one.
All right.
See ya.
See ya.